All right, guys, today's episode is great. I hope you guys enjoy it. Me and my brother talk a ton about SpaceX, electric cars as a whole, as he talks about how he's working on a project building them. And we also talk about Tesla and how the world should really just embrace them more. All right, guys, check it out. Welcome back to episode 13, the Nova Scotia edition. Many of you guys have been kind of requesting to have me do the podcast in as many different locations as possible, and my dog's gonna be walking around. He's a little bored, but yeah, I just wanted to find out as much information about what my brother's doing, as well as just have a good conversation that we don't normally get to have. So, Mitch, what's the coolest project that you're working on right now? Because I know you got a whole bunch.
My current project is giving Cooper some chin rubs. He's loving
Giving
it.
Cooper rubs,
Oh my
yeah.
God,
All
he
right.
loves it. My coolest project, I think, is
I think it's a triumph.
converting the car to electric.
Yeah, go in depth on that though, because I told people like a little bit about it, but I don't think they know as much as you know, because I have no clue. See, Coop?
So I have to take the gas engine out and put a gas engine, fuel tank, cooling, all the parts that make the engine run.
Yeah.
Out and put a electric motor, batteries, new coolant system, and then like controller like.
So is it all done
Yes,
like on CAD and
pedal.
stuff like that though?
Yeah,
Because
so
you're gonna need custom parts, right?
you can do it if you just like grab a bunch of metal and cut it up and hopefully it fits.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can model it and without having
Do
to
it properly.
pay for it, without having to pay for metal.
Mm-hmm.
You can make multiple different versions of something in 3D software, and then when you're ready to go, you just make a big list of all the different parts you need to make and make them one by one, and then hopefully because you did it in 3D software, it fits together.
Yeah. So I know you're really passionate about this the project, and that's kind of what the podcast is all about. It's about having people on that have like passions on some sort of different thing, and we just want to kind of talk about it. So like, how far do you think this electric car project will take you, and do you think there's any future things that'll happen within the world of electricity and all that stuff?
The world of electricity.
The world of electricity.
Cool.
That's the new caption.
Yeah, this project's going to take me to the end of the month, and I
That's
have
it.
to find a new one.
Yep.
But it's a good learning experience, so I can get a handle of how electric cars work and how to kind of where they're lacking, what areas. I'm trying to find out where I can focus my kind of engineering mindset on
the future.
figuring out what needs to be better for electric cars to be more prevalent and used, because they are the future. They're
Yeah, 100%.
they make sense. Where's it going to take me? Who knows? I think I'm just taking it one step at a time, and we will figure that out once I kind of finish the project and move on to the next one.
Where do you think? Oh, you said earlier, 3 seconds ago. What are some of the issues that you see with electric cars now? Not only like I'm thinking the range, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff, right?
Yeah, there's a lot. I think it's kind of society's perception is the biggest thing. If you
And
actually look at how, I think people are scared. First thing, they're scared of like running out of electricity and not being able to charge it because they're worried that they can't get electricity.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, like there's an outlet right there. There's like 50 outlets in everybody's house.
Yeah.
You can charge an electric car on that. It's just like a phone. You just plug it in and let
Yeah.
it go, and eventually it'll stop charging. So like, I think that's kind of over exaggerated.
Mm-hmm.
What else is there? The fact that they actually don't have great range. Some of the earlier models, like for example, if you look at like Nissan Leaf,
Mm-hmm.
their original one started off with like, I don't know, like sub 200 kilometers
Yep.
range.
But what year was that?
2013, I think.
That was like right before everything kicked off.
Don't quote
right?
me on any of this, but
I won't, trust me.
it's somewhere around there, and that was like when the first Model S came out. So it was pretty low range, and they've gotten better and better and better.
Yeah.
So people are scared of.
We can
of
see that now, like
not
with
going
the
all the way.
Roadster, like the Tesla Roadster. If those numbers that they say are true,
Yeah.
it's going to be a complete game changer.
Yeah, I don't know how many they're gonna make of that, but
It's probably going to be like the flamethrower.
yeah.
Have you ever shot one of those before?
No, I
There's-
saw you had one.
Yeah.
Who had it?
It just happened. And like I was hanging out with a couple friends, and then one of them brought up that their older brother had a flamethrower,
And I was
I
like,
had to try it.
what type of flamethrower? Did you make it? And he's like, no, I spent 500 USD on a Elon Musk one. And I'm like, okay, dude, I'm
Yikes,
sorry.
that's a
I
lot of
gotta
money.
see it. And he brought out the whole box and everything. And he's like, it's like number 150.
Yeah, I mean that's how Elon Musk is killing the game is
Yeah, it's
with stuff like the flamethrower and the roadster. It's kind
What
of
was it you said earlier? What did he come out with today? The spaceship thing?
no, it's not today, but the Starship is what he's calling it now.
Some
and
Star Trek
that's
stuff.
like the new rocket. So they started landing Falcon 9 rockets.
Yeah.
Like they would launch them and they would come back down and land them. And now they're taking that 9-meter diameter rocket and they're upscaling that to I don't remember exactly, but it's like double the size, and they're gonna land that even bigger rocket, probably.
It's double the size of 9 meters. Like that's the
I
diameter of
think
the rocket.
so. I think
That's
so. I'm not sure,
ridiculous.
but it's a lot bigger. It's
That's
definitely
insane.
A lot bigger, and it's much higher.
So what did they say the range is?
They can go to the moon. They claim they can go to like Mars, and then land vertically.
That's pretty
But
crazy.
I'm no rocket scientist.
Well, I
so
guess if Elon can do this, they can prove if there's a flag on the moon.
yeah.
For all those
Kill
conspiracy theorists. I know a couple that are like, oh, it didn't happen. The Earth is flat. And I'm like, oh, okay. Let's hope Elon can prove this, because
I mean, I can't see it, but
I think it might just be a
believe it.
projection.
I think they did it.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Why
that?
would you fake that? That's too much
It's
work.
such a pointless. Well, I guess they could have faked it because like the Russians were real close, right? Because the
Yeah.
Russians got the first person in space.
First satellite in space, first person. They were like kicked ass.
Yeah, they
first
ripped.
part.
And then nowadays they can't even launch a
Um,
ballistic missile. It's weird.
Oh no, they still they have the Soyuz rocket, which has been running since like the Cold War era, and is still what takes astronauts to space.
So they haven't really updated it.
They haven't updated because it's just so good. It's
Oh,
had
it's-
two
it's-
failures in its entire life or something like that.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's like pretty proper. It's the one with like there's 4 big boosters on either side.
Oh
they
yeah, and it
fall
looks
off.
really cool.
It looks really cool. Yeah, like Corellia Cross or something like that. I
Yeah.
don't know what it's called.
What was it? No, the reason I said that they couldn't really launch a ballistic missile and it wasn't the right thing. What was I saw this video of, it was like Russian. It was a video of like the Suez Crisis or something like that, and they were just
Really?
trying to launch. They were trying to launch missiles,
Mhm.
and every time they'd launch them, it would go up and they would just explode. Which it was just like they tried, it didn't work. But I got
Yeah.
that's the more military side versus the
They do have some catching up to do though. Like
yeah, definitely.
I mean, everybody does with regards to rockets. After Elon Musk is, well, not just him, but SpaceX and everybody.
How far do you think electric vehicles and because they're not really tied together, but
No,
they're
they're
still
tied together because of him. But,
they're tied together because of him. But like the first the moon rover
yeah,
that was electric.
Yeah,
It was
sure.
only what 60. They only gave it a 1 charge battery and it was like 60 kilometers they could go,
Yeah,
which was pretty
I
funny.
guess.
And they only used like a quarter of the battery.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
Um,
What was the question though?
how far do you think it's gonna go? Do you think everybody's gonna be? Because we were talking about this earlier, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm piggybacking on. But how far do you think electric cars are really gonna take on? Do you think everybody's gonna be driving an electric car by the time we're 80, or do you think that it's gonna be a fad and there's gonna be something else will come in, or anything else?
If you like, there's nothing stopping anybody from just going and buying an electric car today, other than the fact that they cost a bunch.
Yeah.
But as we know, like prices drop down.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing is being able to drive like across the country. But how often do you do that? So what I'm trying to say is, yes, in like 80 years, I don't see any reason why we won't be just driving electric cars.
That's true.
People can complain about the emissions when they're being built, but I don't
Is
really
it
think
really
that
worse
counts.
than?
It's definitely not worse because, like the guy I'm working with right now is always saying how, you wouldn't stick yourself in a garage with the door shut with an electric. You would with an electric car, but you wouldn't with a gas car.
Yeah,
and, like, it
that's
just
actually
kind of
so
proves
true.
how like not good it is for you.
Yeah.
How bad it is for you.
And think about the process of just, building the electric car.
Mhm.
The bad part's the lithium. You got to get the lithium
Yeah,
from those
mining it.
mines, which are super toxic. You can't really get rid of any of the liquid involved in building it. But if you look at like building a car, not only do you have to get fuel for that car, you need fuel to build the car as well.
Yeah. So it's the same.
So it's gonna
The suspension, the body, the computers and stuff, it's all kind of the same cost to the environment, except for the battery. And then the other thing is, Okay, I'm gonna ruin this. Neodymium magnets, I think it's called. That's what they're called.
Sounds pretty cool though.
They're like magnets that come from the earth. Like you can take metal and you can magnetize it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of
Natural magnets kind of thing.
Yeah, natural magnet is a neodymium magnet. I think that's what it's called. It's close like that. So that's also pretty harmful, and that's in the motor.
Oh, so the natural
is harmful because you have to cut it. Natural magnets are harmful because you have to like mine a massive pit. To get them out.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, there's probably
is that part
less
of the
invasive ways, but it's part of the motor.
So those magnets are with the. I'm not sure. You know the battery science. I don't really know. It's like so the magnets that you have to mine are mixed with the lithium. Because they're using lithium ion,
not
right?
Quite. So lithium ion or lithium ion is like a million different chemistries.
Oh, so it's just it's like a blanket term.
There's like it's a huge blanket term. But these magnets that I'm talking about are part of the motor. And,
Okay.
The motors can be made without them.
But they're just not as efficient.
They can be as efficient. It's a different type of motor. We'd be going down a rabbit hole if we started talking about that. But so what I'm trying to say is, yeah, you can make them without them. For the most part, a lot of the electric cars nowadays are made with them. They're called brushless DC motors, and they have solid.
So it's like a massive RC engine.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like when you get those
That's
little
a brushless
toys
DC.
when we were younger, you get those helicopters with the brushless motors.
Yep.
Those on a bigger scale, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's just dumbing it down and
They're
making it
massive
pointless. But
and heavy, but
yeah, it is crazy. Like
no, I think it'll happen.
the one thing that I saw recently was like what's that YouTuber Versatilium or something like that? Veritasium. He made a video on electric cars and he went kind of down the history and before like the first gasoline powered car was made, but electric cars took over for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the Model T came out and kind of swept everybody. It was way cheaper.
Yeah.
And back in the day, it was like $2,400 in like the 1800s or whatever,
Which I don't know what that is.
or like the 1900s. Like but I think that's like upwards of 60,000. So I don't even know. I can't do the translation.
It's not something crazy. You could probably put that on later or something. But
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll crop it in something like
put
that.
it here.
Yeah, right
I'll
there.
do that.
Subscribe button, and then it'll be the.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like
yeah, they definitely dropped the price. Maybe that was the reason why. I'm not sure. Maybe that video probably says.
Yeah, no, but there's so many like it's weird how not only does like the technology, it was there for a bit, and then it stopped. But what I was thinking about as soon as I saw that was what would it have been like? What would the world have been like today
if we'd done it the entire time?
If it would have been electric the entire time? I know you didn't watch the video, but what do you think would have happened if we had all those extra years of development for just electric?
From my understanding, there's a battery called a lead acid battery. So in everybody's car, you have a lead acid battery. It's just a car battery. That technology is 100 and something years old. Like it's very old, and that's what those cars would have had.
Yeah.
They
would have
just usually run like 12 volts, just the way the chemistry likes to work. But they're really heavy. They're made with lead, right? Lead is not a light material.
It's dense.
So that was the biggest thing. And that's what slowed the development because they didn't really figure out how to make a much lighter, more energy dense battery until the 70s, I think.
Oh, really?
Around then is when they started looking at lithium batteries and then lithium ion eventually after, like not long after that. So I don't know, like there was 70 years there or 60 or whatever where they could have just been making electric cars with lead acid batteries, which I don't think would have worked because you would have needed so much of them. And lead acid, it's so heavy that you're never going to make it energy dense enough to put in a car.
Yeah.
That's why it's not in cars nowadays.
It's just a car battery for
not
like the AC
cars.
and stuff like that.
What
Just
it
to start
still
the
is also
alternator.
in electric cars, but just a single small one. It's not the entire pack. But.
Yeah. That's nuts.
So I don't know if they caught on to lithium ion in like 1920 or something. It would be
that would have been
really
super
prevalent,
crazy.
Really crazy.
Some guy would have just been digging at home in his backyard.
And then maybe fuel wouldn't have been. I mean,
as big a.
I think they refined oil
we
for
wouldn't
like.
have got to space then. That's another rabbit hole because if we're all focused on electricity,
we're not going to space on electric rockets.
How would that happen?
I don't think it's possible.
You just have the Energizer Bunny. You just stand there running around.
Yeah, a bunch of those. On
Just
Red
like
Bulls.
hamster wheels. That should happen. Yeah, but the other thing I wanted to know was since you're so passionate about electric cars, do you want to go say work as an engineer at? Would a dream job be like working at Tesla, or would you want to find? Because I know our project that we really want to do is rebuild, pardon me, classic Alfa Romeos, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want to do that. Would you ever think of
It's
Do-
so hard
doing a full EV?
from an
'cause-
Alpha.
Because you have an experience with a Triumph. Do you think get the GTV6 or the Milano or any of our cars into a full EV?
I think I would only do it if I got a chassis that didn't have an engine in it already. I
Yeah.
would have to like go through the trouble of finding the proper V6 engine.
Removed.
And if like
And a good-
the
you need
body
a
was
good
like
frame.
beat up and not yeah, if I had a good frame, I don't know. I wouldn't take it out. I definitely would not take a motor out of the car and put an electric one in.
It's sacrilegious too.
It's sacrilegious, yeah. But if I had a car that didn't have a motor, I would do it for sure because
Yeah,
that would be really cool.
it'd be really cool.
And it needs to happen. It'd be
There's a whole bunch of people that there's a guy that does VWs, old like the old
Yeah.
van and the Beetle in like the 60s 50s,
there's a company
and
called
Porsches.
EV West. EV West. I think that's
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
the
yeah.
one you're talking to.
and it's really cool. Like some of the things that they have going,
Mm-hmm.
it's just instant torque. There's just like the beginning shot of the video was the guy just doing a massive 4-wheel burnout.
Yeah.
It was like what? It just because of all that torque.
Yeah, they're powerful.
Is it really sacrilegious if we're headed that way, or
Well, you kind of. I see what you're saying. It's like faster. It's
Mhm.
it's better.
and it is technically lower handling? Well, like better. Do you think is it better handling
would-
because the
yeah.
battery, the center of gravity is lower?
Yeah, but depends on where you put the battery. If you just put a battery into a regular car, this is kind of one of the troubles that I'm having right now with this.
Yep.
This car build I'm working on now, is you can't just stick the battery underneath the car
Because you got all the other stuff.
because you have to. There's metal there,
Yeah.
and if in order to do that, and not have your battery scrape on the ground, you have to raise your car up,
Yeah.
which then you have this like
You
lifted
change that
plastic,
weird looking.
convertible,
Yeah.
which is not really what you want. So you have to put it where like the engine is, where the transmission was, where the fuel tank was, and the fuel tanks are usually like this big,
yeah.
but batteries are like 7 or 8 of these. Like it's
It's true. Yeah, because how big
Doesn't-
is a Tesla battery? Because I know you're not using.
they stretch between like the entire floorboard of the car is a battery.
Oh, okay.
Modern electric cars take a skateboard shape, so
so-
the whole bottom.
Oh, so okay,
underneath
yeah,
your
okay.
feet is a big.
'Cause that's what I was
it's 8
curious about.
modules.
You said they were like blocks. I just didn't know if they kind of like liquid formed to the car because they can do custom battery work or anything like that.
It's a big rectangle, and I don't know the dimensions or anything. But each cell they're called 18650. Well, they're
Yeah.
changing. They're different on Model 3s, but for example, Model S has a 18650
It's a
cell.
long-range one, yeah.
So it's like 18 in diameter,
Well, whatever. It
650
doesn't
tall.
really matter. Yeah.
6.5 tall. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so they just stack them in a big flat shape, and they can cool it really well.
So what? We're talking a lot about electric cars, and you don't seem to be. You're really interested in them, but for me, from what me looking at, like understanding the conversation, I don't really see you as you fully wanting to go in there. Is there something else that like you want to go into as an
No, I
engineer?
feel
Because I
like
know you're studying it, right? But
Yeah,
is there
you're-
something else?
You're getting at that a little bit. Yeah, I think I want to take for a while. Right now, we're at a kind of turning point in
History?
vehicles. Yeah, kind of I guess history, but definitely in like EV adoption. And I would like to learn as much as I can. I think it's interesting, so I'm gonna try and figure out something that I can kind of not make a name for myself, but make something.
Make
in
sure
doing
you're
so, I
not
guess
just
I would do that, but-
another name.
I don't really care.
No, you don't want to have
the
any.
attention. I want to be able to like make something that like people use and is actually bettering the technology.
So you want to add, yeah, no, and I totally understand that. You just want to add. You don't want to build a name for yourself, so you're like, oh, I'm famous, but you want to
Yeah.
build something that people actually use and it makes people's lives better. That kind of thing.
Sure. And I think EVs are a good opportunity to do that because they're clean and they utilize renewable energy.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of leads me into renewable energy, which is another interesting area that I think I would probably work in my career at some point. Doing stuff like tidal, like harnessing the ocean. You can't stop the big bad ocean. It's going to go in and out as it does, and you can harness that. So
Yeah.
storing that is one of the big things that
How-
people
yeah,
are looking into right now. How do you store that? How do you store the energy? whereas like coal is stored in the coal that you dig out of the ground,
Yeah,
and you use it up, right?
it's true. Yeah, that how would is it more of like a kind of like an underground wind turbine, or do they use kind of something to flow with the wake?
There's a bunch of different ways. The big one, for example, kind of near us right now is on the Bay of Fundy. That it has the highest tides in the world, and basically there's multiple companies that have created wind turbines that are then placed underwater. They're not like wind turbines. The only thing
They're
they share
smaller,
is
aren't
that they
they?
spin and they generate electricity. Yeah, they're smaller and they're much stronger because, like I said,
The
big
tide
bad
is-
ocean. Yeah, it's tough.
Big bad ocean. Yeah.
So they deploy them out in the Bay of Fundy where there's very high tides, lots of flow of water. It's like 3 meters per second or something, like walking speed when the water's really flowing.
That's insane.
So you can get lots of energy out of it, and it's just stored. It's like cyclical, like it goes up and down.
Yep.
The output of the turbine.
Of the turbine, yeah.
So it most of the time it just gets fed into the grid. But if the grid doesn't need it, either you either clip it and get rid of it, like dissipate it, or just open the line, or you
That
store it
seems like
somehow.
such a waste, though.
It is a waste, yeah.
So
There's a fancy word for it, I forget right now, but
Is
it
there
basically
anything? Do you know of anything that'll help like adjust to the grid? Because
yeah, that's a big question.
let's
how
go.
to
Let's
do
open that big can of worms. I want to hear about it
it.
because I know nothing. I'm so interested in this.
Big area right now is using like a power wall or for
Yeah,
example, bring it back to Tesla. They have
They kind of
something called a
it
Tesla
always
wall.
goes back right.
Yeah.
Big name and then vapor.
But there's like very cheap options that you can do. You can just take a bunch of lead acid batteries and use, say, like your solar energy or something, or if you had a tidal turbine, that would be.
We should
Not a lot of people have it. Mostly it's like big companies, but a lot of people do have solar.
Yeah.
You'd store that energy in a big battery and then use that in your house, or just feed it right back in the grid when you don't need
For
it.
a large scale alternative, though, instead of having just clipping off or opening up the line, is there like a more strategic way of leading power to other areas? Is there anything like that? Like, have your profs said anything about that, or
Large scale, for the most part, a lot of it gets used up.
Mhm.
Like, and then if it's not used up, people don't design stuff to have to clip and waste energy, right?
Mhm.
But where they know that they're going to do that, they will implement big battery storage. And there are commercial options for buildings. Like some buildings, commercial pricing for electricity, if you have surges in your electricity,
Yeah.
for example, everybody turns on the lights all at once, and the AC and their computers and their machines or whatever,
Yep.
and your power output cranks right up. During those cases, if your company had a big battery, they would just dissipate the battery
It'll
energy
just send it straight in.
into the building to clip that usage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where having a smarter grid will be able to implement renewable energy kind of cleaner.
What are your thoughts on like nuclear energy? Is that a way to put more research into it, or should we stick to the natural?
We have really, really clean nuclear energy. But
We do or
people
we don't?
We
Sorry.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clean and it's like really efficient.
It's better than Chernobyl.
But you do get this bad. Yeah, like it's safe.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. People are scared of it though. They're scared of having a nuclear
because the word
plant.
nuclear. Once you think of nuclear, what do you think of?
Yeah, like Chernobyl and 7 Mile Island and
Yeah, like
Fukushima. Like
yeah,
like
like I think
disasters,
of
right?
World War II and
But
having
for
a
the most
B-17 drop a big bomb.
For the most part, that doesn't really happen.
No. What was the last one? Japan.
Yeah.
But that
I don't know. There's probably another one before that we don't know about.
Yeah, exactly. They hide stuff pretty well.
But yeah, it's fairly clean. But there are alternatives. But you just have to have a lot more of those alternatives versus one nuclear plant.
Yeah.
Like for example, I don't know what the math is for Nova Scotia. There's like, is it 1 million or 500,000? 500,000 in
There's a
Halifax.
million
I think it's 1
people.
million. Million in all of Nova Scotia, say. Maybe you need 1 or 2, maybe 3 nuclear plants. You probably need like, let's say 2. You need like 500 solar arrays or whatever dispersed over the
Yeah, but it's
province
such
in
an
order
open,
to-
like the middle of no, like there's not.
It's trees,
Most
yeah.
people are set out to the outskirts, right,
Yeah, near the water.
near the water, because it's beautiful. Why wouldn't you want to be
Or-
near the water?
Well, most people are in Halifax or in
Yeah,
Sydney.
actually, isn't it 500,000
And then
people are
there's
in Halifax?
yeah. So the other 500,000 are either in Sydney, which is probably like another 200,000, and then everybody else around Nova
And then like
Scotia, so-
Bridgewater's what, 40?
Yeah, and like obviously you can see here there's no one. There's like one house way over there.
And
like
you'll
house of
occasionally see a
couple over
tourist.
here and there.
Everybody else is. I'm not sure
Some
if you guys can
cottages
see
and
much
stuff.
of this, but yeah,
We're in the middle of nowhere.
like the nearest. The nearest town is what, 45, half an hour away?
It's half an hour, yeah. If you're
Yeah.
going.
At least it's got a movie theater. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a weird place for a movie theater too.
Well, it has to have something. It's like
Yeah, just
it's probably the same size as Dundas. It's just that it isn't right next to Hamilton and then right next to Burlington.
okay, yeah,
And then into the
all those other
GTA.
places. Yeah, it is crazy. It is such a nice. When I was younger, I already said like I just didn't really enjoy it. It wasn't my thing, but like as you get older, it seems to work out.
Well,
I don't know. You kind of fell in love with it from an early age. I don't know what changed you.
I kind of just saw like opportunity. I could go and be free and do whatever I wanted here, and I met some friends that were pretty cool and had kind of similar mentality. So we like went off and
Coleman Mary.
found fun things to do. And there's a bunch of beaches. Like I like the beaches. It's
Yeah.
really good to hang out.
I don't know. You're
It's
more
also
of a,
colder here, and that's
which is nice.
like it's like 4. I don't know. It's probably 4 o'clock or something like that right now, and that's like the hottest time of the day, and it's like 25 degrees in the shade.
Ocean breeze.
Yeah, with the ocean breeze versus, I mean, even Halifax is like maybe 30, but in Ontario it's like at least 30, right? Or for the most
It's-
part.
It sounds worse, but it's not that bad. Like
It's
Ontario will
hot.
have like really bad spurts.
Yeah, and you got a bunch of rain and thunder showers.
Oh,
It's not that
thunder.
much. It's just
Speaking
like
of thunder,
briefly,
man.
right? And then it's
I didn't really. We briefly touched on it when I went through that thunderstorm, coming
Coming here,
home from work.
oh, okay.
We went through. So I had to ride my bike, and you got to go down like the rail trail, right?
Yeah.
So you know where that. And then I cut into a park, and I'm looking up at the trees, and I've never seen trees sway more in my life. Like I've been here for a
Yeah.
hurricane too,
Yeah.
and the trees were not swaying that much. And they're the big boys. They're not the small little trees.
Yeah.
They're swaying back and forth, slapping into each other, and I'm like, oh no, this is not gonna be
You're
good.
gonna
And I
get
look down, and
smoked.
there's that opening into the path where you have to go through the forest,
Mm.
and it's pitch black, and my phone's dead. And I'm like, I have no flashlight. Let's just hope I had
Can't
enough
do it.
carrots when I was younger, because I can't see anything. And I go through it, and all I hear is like, I swear to God, 15 feet away from me, this tree just splashed right onto the ground.
Yeah.
It was so cool. It was the coolest moment ever. Is Nova Scotia?
Was it like in the woods or was it on the trail?
Oh, it was in the woods.
Okay.
I'm so
You
happy
didn't
it
have to,
wasn't
like,
on the
bunny
trail, because that
hop
would have been nuts. Has anything happened that like in Nova Scotia?
Nothing. Not really
Intense?
dangerous moments like that. Yeah, not really. I mean, I've had like there's some stories, but no trees falling in the woods.
Well, what are the stories then? What's close? What compares? Get eaten by a shark?
No, definitely haven't seen a shark.
There's one, just like right, Jane, chilling over
We were
there.
hanging out with them, right?
It's she,
I
but
got
yeah.
stuck on the island once when I was sailing.
That's such a
but-
funny story.
Yeah.
I love how you were like so confident because you just bought your sailboat, and you're like, oh, the tide's not gonna go down.
I know the water.
And then you
so
got stuck out
good.
there.
Yeah.
That's so funny. But yeah, I think this was a great conversation, man. Thank you for coming.
Is it time yet?
Do you have anything?
What's this say?
We can continue if you want.
I don't care.
The one meme that we kind of have for this is the camera will cut out at 30 minutes.
Oh, does it?
So if we want to take a commercial break and get back to it,
Sure. Whatever.
all right. All right, guys, we're going to have a quick commercial break, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
All right, everybody, welcome back. I'm standing now. My guest has kind of decided that we're going to the beach. So this is a little quick. I genuinely don't know what to do. It was a pretty good conversation, I'd like to think so. Just talking about space, Elon Musk being a complete badass, doing whatever he's doing with that new spaceship thing that he's talking about, the moon. Maybe we can prove the moon landing's real.